Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at the Waterhole. This afternoon, it's 12:30 on Monday, the 7th of April. My name is Kelly. I'm going to be with you for the next couple of hours here on the webcams. We are starting at the fabulous Tal Game Lodge up in Madikwe Game Reserve. And it looks like we've got some white-faced whistling ducks. They really do come up with some fabulous names for these birds, don't they? So please do remember we are live and fully interactive. My favourite part of the show is listening to all your questions and attempting to answer them in the most honest way possible. Send your questions to wildearth.tv/questions or scan the QR code that's currently on your screens. You can also send through your questions and comments via WhatsApp on +27 7863 02336. Is it raining there? I think it's actually raining a little bit there at Tau. Huh. Look at that. And all these white-faced whistling ducks are taking the opportunity to have a lovely cream. A little bit of feather maintenance going on here. Very important for all birds, but especially these water-dependent birds, to keep their feathers in good working order. Keep them nice and waterproof using that lovely preen oil they take from their preen gland, gently, I was going to say feathering it through their feathers, no pun intended. I don't know if any of you have ever really looked at a feather. If you do find a feather on your travels, make sure you wash your hands afterwards, disclaimer. But often those feathers, unless you've found something that's very unfortunately been eaten by something and there's a large pile of feathers around, it is quite common to find feathers that have been shed or molted, and it's almost like a zip. If you pick that feather up, and I'm trying to sort of do it with my hand, if you pull the feather in the incorrect direction, the strands or the parts of those feather will sort of split, and then if you gently wipe them back up in the correct direction, they almost re-zip back together. And that's exactly what these ducks are doing now. They're keeping everything in excellent working order. I think this may be a family that are chilling here together. There looks like probably the male of the group. Hello, Jace. Good afternoon. You're watching from Pretoria. Welcome. Thank you for taking the time to join us this afternoon. It's hugely appreciated. It is a little bit tricky sometimes to tell the males from the females in this group, but it does, if I had to guess, it does look like this is a family. Colouring on those faces is slightly duller in lots of these birds. Oh, hello, welcome. Is this maybe another adult that's just joined? Just have a look at the face. So not always the case. Females are often less colourful or less brightly marked. So yeah, maybe this is the other adult of the group, and this could be a clutch of this year's chicks that are no longer babies. Fully developed flight feathers, all that downy covering is gone, ready for flight. Joanne Mello, happy Monday, Kelly. Happy Monday back to you, Joanne. Kirsten, is there a bird species where the female has the vibrant colour feathers and the males are dull? That is an excellent question. I am going to rack my brains. There is nothing that springs to mind. Is it a lizard or something that does that? There is something that does that because there's some chasing around going on there. That's a really good question, Kirsten, but I'm going to have to come back to you. I'm pretty sure there is, but my brain is not currently relinquishing that information for me. There's lots of species that they're similar. Male and female have bright colourings or long tails. So not just the male. But Kirsten, great question. But I'm not going to say yes and I'm not going to say no because I don't like commitment to these things. Deb Davis, hello from Pennsylvania, US. Welcome, Deb Davis. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. And Elemental, happy Hyrax Day, Kelly and all the Wild Earth viewers. Thank you, Mr. Elemental. Hyrax Day indeed. I was supposed to hand in some Hyrax homework today. I'm not happy with the research I've done to further discuss scientific information around elephant and Hyrax foot structure. I do like to do proper research if I'm going to potentially open myself up to discussion. So I'm not ready to hand that homework in yet. Alex is saying, yeah, feathers have a cool structure, not so soft though. No, well, it depends. There's different birds have different types of feathers in the same way that animals, sometimes double-coated animals often have different types of fur. So you get a downy, soft undercoat for insulation, be that keeping things cool or keeping them warm. And then those very specifically structured feathers on the tail, on the wings, also around the face. Sometimes feathers are formed to a specific structure around the eyes to protect the eyes or stop stuff getting into eyes. Everything has its purpose, but no, they're not always super soft. Alex, I agree. I definitely think this is a family group. The way they're moving together like that, there's a little bit of fracas going on there. A little bit of chasing around like only families can. Lovely start with these beautiful white-faced whistling ducks here. There. It does definitely look like it's raining a bit. I'll be interested to see if this rain develops further over the next couple of hours. But in the meantime, let's head across to Tembe and see who we have got there this afternoon. Oh, okay, I've just discovered that we don't currently have Tembe. We've got a little bit of a tech freezing issue there. So let's stay with this lovely little family of ducks. Now these ducks, like so many others, are monogamous. Many birds, in fact, monogamous. So just the one partner, and they will often stay together on a long-term basis. And these ducks will nest along the sides in the edges of water. I'm interested to see that this, it actually looks like there's 3 ducks here with their, oh no, maybe that one at the front is just on the turn with much more adult plumage. Oh, there's a couple of, what are those ducks looking at behind there? And some of the juveniles with a much more or less pronounced face markings. Is there something scuffling around in there? At the water's edge there, I wonder.
Join Wild Earth Travel on a unique nature adventure in the Greater Kruger Park. Legendary master tracker Renius Mhlongo leads a 4-day animal tracking experience in the Sabi Sand Nature Reserve. This experience offers a life-changing chance to track Africa's iconic animals on foot with a master of his craft. Renius is joined by Wild Earth presenter and expert storyteller Amy Krantz, and together they will connect you to Africa's wild heart. South Africa's wild places are closer than you think because Federal Airlines brings them to you. From the calm of our FedAir lounge to the smooth boarding of our trusted fleet, we take care of the journey so you can enjoy the adventure. Our flights go beyond the ordinary, connecting you to South Africa's most remote and extraordinary locations. Federal Airlines, your gateway to the South African wild.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. I really want to film an artwork, and it has been my goal. I'll be just keeping my eyes open. The worst driver is James. He's driving, yeah. You gotta be holding on back in there, yeah? Like in bumps, and I mean, it happens when, these things happens when you're actually going for animals usually. But then, yeah, he's driving, yeah, you gotta put your seatbelt.
Safari, wine, and waterfalls. The ultimate African adventure. Sip South Africa's finest wines. Experience a world-class safari among Africa's iconic wildlife. And stand in front of Victoria Falls, one of the natural wonders of the world. All this can be yours with Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
Ducks and geese, and why is one a duck and why is one a goose? I don't know off the top of my head. I can do a little bit of investigation to possibly find out, but it's not unusually. It often does. Taxonomic classifications do often have they do often have basis in foot structure. I'm just looking at this duck that's here in the water, and I think I know what it is. So this is indeed a shell duck, South African shell duck, that grey face. So similar browns on the body of the white-faced whistling ducks. Female's got a slightly whiter head and the male, there we go. A whiter head, and the male's got that very grey face, very distinctive black bill and that grey face there. She's actually got, see, now that, to me, she is almost more colourful, Kirsten, than the male. So maybe we've answered our own question. He's just got a grey face. And she's got quite a few, she's got very bold facial markings there. So, South African shell ducks. No babies with these guys. So yeah, casting, I might even think that this is an example of a female having more striking markings than a male. Thank you very much, shell ducks. This is slightly less common in my experience, so I've probably seen less, or far less actually, African shell ducks than those white-faced whistling ducks, and it would be quite easy to mistake, because that duck has indeed got a white face, but they don't whistle. This is a more classic duck sound, in my opinion. I'm not doing duck impressions. But very different call, and if you weren't paying attention, it might be easy to mistake those white face whistling, because this duck does have a white face. Again, somewhat confusing. So mainly feeding on seeds and algae, sometimes also feeding on insects. I'm not sure if they're dabbling around there for some algae under the water. But lovely cool conditions here in Tau Game Lodge in Madikwe. Mindy Tillipau, hi. Thank you for popping in, Mindy. Appreciate it. How are you doing? Joining us with some lovely South African shell ducks here. I wonder what the temperature is there in Madikwe. Let me have a look and see. Up very close to the border of Botswana there. Madikwe Game Reserve. Oh wow, it's 23 degrees. That is cool. Nice little bit of drizzle. But no, it's very close from when I used to work at Tau. If we had an afternoon, we would sometimes pop through there into Botswana to get pizza. That's how close it is. The main entrance road to Tau is about 10 kilometres, and then if you got to the bottom of the entrance road and looked right, you could see Botswana. So very close there up to the boundary. You can see how far out that water was when the water level was high. Lots of mud dried out quite quickly there. Lovely South African shell ducks in a cool, drizzly Madikwe Game Reserve. Leave this lovely pair here, and let's head over to Victoria Falls and see who we have up there at Victoria Falls. Oh, lovely. Look at these two beautiful big kudu gulls. Gorgeous boys. Looks much warmer up here today at Vic Falls. No drizzle here. See those lovely twists in these bull's horns. These horns almost look disproportionately large and compared to these boys' bodies. Often when the males develop these beautiful big horns, their necks get thick, their bodies look stout. But maybe these two, I mean they're adults, but maybe the genetics that are running through these lines are just big horned. And not necessarily big in the body. These horns and also tusk size can be quite dependent on genetics in an area. Looks like that kudu's listening to something there. Drew, you're asking which groups of antelope have the most intense competition with each other? Drew, again, I'm going to be completely non-committal, and it tends to depend on resource availability. So that's females or breeding rights are a resource, water resources, food resources, or do you mean which species? So kudu competes with bushbuck. I suppose you would probably mean kudu, different species competing with one another. I thought you meant interspecies competition. There's none that spring to mind, Drew, because nature's quite clever in the fact that they don't place species, or nature doesn't place species that's competing for exactly the same resources in proximity that nature can't deal with. It's not often that you will see interspecies. It happens, you know, elephants will chase impalas away from water, that sort of thing. But antelope-wise, you've got your mainly grazers or mainly browsers, and you won't often find two sole groups of grazers in exactly the same area, which does limit competition. So it depends. It depends on quite a few things. I'm just trying to think. And then, you know, even kudu and bushbuck, they're different sizes. So they're going to be browsing at different heights. Kudu are going to be browsing higher up than bushbuck because they're taller. if I was forced to say drill, I'd maybe say bushbuck and Indiana. They both live in sort of thicker areas. Bushbuck are smaller, but they might be browsing at similar heights. It's very difficult, but anything that frequents the same area is in competition. Like impala and springbok, you very rarely see them in the same place. These two male kudu, you see those lovely tips on the tips of their spiral horns here. Some people call them ivory tips, some people call them growing tips, but it's often classified as a sign of maturity. So if you see a kudu with these white tips on the top of their horns, you know they're definitely adults. These boys, it's really nice here seeing these boys completely comfortable sharing whatever it is they're either browsing down there or they may be licking the soil. Oh, hello. Got a little family of warthogs joined. Ah, this little one is chilling down there in the mud. It's so nice to see everyone sharing these resources. Back in our Oliphants River, there's oh, look at that tiny little one in there. Oh my goodness, that's a fast flowing river for those tiny little elephants to be in. I'm glad those little ones came out there. This river is quite fast flowing, and even a relatively well-sized elephant was getting a little bit of traction on there yesterday. Look at these two youngsters at the water's edge there. does seem to be a popular spot with these elephants, which is fortunate because it's right in front of our cameras. This looks like it might be two young boys that generally partaking in some rough and tumble, but it looks like they've been requested that it's time to move. So up they get like good boys. And there's a young one right at the back there as well. Time to go. Well, that looks like quite a swift departure. I wonder why that is. Lady Macbeth, yes, it is quite some current, I agree. There was a well-sized bull in there yesterday. Oh, sorry, it looks like we might have lost that Oliphant's River feed there. Maybe the current is too much for everyone today, but look at this. This is just beautiful. Warthogs, Egyptian geese, and that lovely little warthog family all together, all sharing resources. A little bit of bonding going on there. This looks like a youngster. Oh, look. See, this is something you probably wouldn't see if you were here either on foot or in a vehicle. These little ones are so relaxed. Happy as a warthog in mud. I definitely think that should be used as a phrase more often. Cooling down, covering that little piggy body with nice mud. And that's the same as many animals will do it. To help with parasite control, to help with cooling. And what piggy doesn't like wallowing in the mud? Wow, I'm not sure if it's the camera angle, but that warthog looks like it could sniff that kudu. How nice is that? Completely unconcerned with each other's presence. So these two youngsters, these look quite different ages. And I think there was two adults, so maybe these are the only piglets that are left with these two females. And have they... It looks like those warthogs have gone to exactly the same point that those kudus were at. I can't quite see what they're doing back there. But it could be that there's maybe a geological hotspot or a nice bit of some minerals back there that we can't see. Maybe there's something delicious to eat under that bush. Maybe there's some yummy roots there. It does look like they're feeding at that exact spot, though, that those kudos are at. Kudos, I'm not sure what's behind there exactly.
Seven nights on safari during the magnificent green season. The rains have stopped, the land is emerald, and there are wild babies everywhere. Meet your favorite presenters.
This is amazing.
And create unforgettable memories on this once-in-a-lifetime adventure.
Thank you for coming along on this little adventure.
The Green Season Grand Tour, only with Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive. The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website. Step into the heart of Africa from the comfort of your home.
Female leopard tracks over here.
Join our expert guides for a live 3-hour safari where every moment is real, unscripted, and unforgettable. Ask questions,
Animals rely on their senses.
share your thoughts, and be part of the experience as we explore together. Safari Live.
They can have sort of up to 7 or 8 youngsters, but the average is actually only around 2 or 3. You often see these. Oh, look at that! That just come in. Is that a mare of it come in? We often see big groups of waterhole piglets, but that's often from several females. And I once heard it, unsubstantiated, don't quote me, that if one female dies, oh wow, is it vulture feeding time or something? Look at that. Jeepers, that's a lot of birds. Nathan, it's to me it's more about resources. It could be, they do say that, well, impalas do all have babies at around about the same time. Is that specifically designed for one to give your youngster less chance of being eaten? Possibly, but I personally think it's more just about a good time for resources. Beautiful skies there at Vic Falls. I have no idea what all those birds were that came in. I'm going to guess there's a lot of vultures coming in there by the way they're flying. Lots of bird activity at Vic Falls Safari Lodge. I think let's go over to Elephant Pad. That's a lovely scene actually. Look at the beautiful blues in that sky. Reds of the soil. I'm sure that's a greater egret. But yeah, I'm going to guess that these are vultures, but I'm not even going to attempt an identification from this distance. I think let's go over to Elephant Pan. I would love to see who we've got across here at Elephant Pan. I'm going to guess maybe some elephants. I was right. Oh, that's pretty colours as well today. Gorgeous reflections of those trees at the back there. Theo, you asked if there are mineral-rich patches, are there areas with soil that has poor minerals or a lack of minerals? Theo, yes, absolutely. Mineral contents of soils often depend on the base rock or the substrate rock that breaks down to create soils. So if you've got I'm trying to think of an example, but basically, so if you've got a very iron-rich rock, a base rock, that will break down over time, over years, to create iron-rich soil, and vice versa. Whatever that substrate rock is, or that base rock, will dictate the soil type and often its mineral contents. You will also find that depending on the topography of an area, so if there's soil on a hill or on a slope and water rushes down that slope, it can also leach through the soil and deplete that soil of essential minerals, making that area less likely to be able to support the growth of different trees or plants. So short version, Theo, yes, there can be areas that are rich in minerals, but also areas that are lower in mineral content. Hans, brilliant question. Do elephants contribute to soil erosion? Top end answer, I'm going to say yes. Because if they're pushing trees over, those trees' roots will upend, and as a result, the area around where those roots would have been would be more liable to erosion. So top end answer, I'm going to say yes, Hans, but as always, it depends on a plethora of different things. Quite short version, if you had a 10-hectare fenced area with loads of trees in, and you put a couple of elephants in and they pushed all the trees over, then that area is going to become more eroded than it would have done without the elephants in there. So if you look on this elephant's trunk, you actually saw just then when he blew water out the end of his trunk, it came out two sides. African elephants have those almost two little fingers, two little closing sections on the end there. I'm doing it with my hands. Almost like two sides, two fingers. But if you look at Asian elephants, they've only got one, what should we call it? One picky uppy thing on one side of their trunk. There's a few differences between Asian and African elephants, and that is one of them. And this elephant here demonstrated that beautifully just now. Are you going to do it again for us? As he sprayed water, he closed his trunk fingers, and water sprayed out of both sides of them. I'm going to try and remember the water level here, and the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to just by this, in front of this elephant now, I see there's a log, and the closest edge of the log starts quite close to the edge of the water. So I'm going to try and remember that that's where the water line is at the moment. Absolutely gorgeous reflections today. Very, very still. It's done the water, now time for some dust. There's hardly a breath of wind there. Those branches in that tree closest to us are just moving a little bit. I actually saw the other day, yesterday, a friend of mine, very, very good photographer. He's got a couple more photos published, and I think it's I can't remember which wildlife book it is, but one of the pictures he's got in there is a stunning photo of a leopard, but the bulk of the photo is actually taken, it is reflection. You can see sort of a little bit of the leopard at the bottom of the photo, but the bulk of it is just the reflection of a leopard in very, very still water. Absolutely stunning work. Greg, silly question. Do baby elephants nurse with their trunks? Firstly, Greg, there's no such thing as a silly question, believe me. If you want to know it, then I'm happy to try and answer it. And no, they do not. They use their mouths. But you've got me thinking now. I suppose technically they could, but then they would have to be quite dexterous, use that trunk. But no, they use their little mouths. I put those mammary glands between the front legs there. So again, interesting comparison between elephants, and elephants are one of the few mammals with their mammary glands between their front legs, whereas so many animals have their mammary glands or teats either along their bellies or between their back legs. Their elephant females have those teats, those mammary glands between their front legs, as I believe dussies do. I'm just trying to think who else. Obviously humans, if we're on all fours. Elephants are one of the few mammals that have this. This boy is nice and relaxed here. There's looks like a blacksmith lapwing there at the edge of the water.
Join Wild Earth Travel on a unique nature adventure in the Greater Kruger Park. Legendary master tracker Renius Mhlongo leads a 4-day animal tracking experience in the Sabi Sand Nature Reserve. This experience offers a life-changing chance to track Africa's iconic animals on foot with a master of his craft. Renius is joined by Wild Earth presenter and expert storyteller Amy Krantz, and together they will connect you to Africa's wild heart. April 13 marks the beginning of something powerful. Wild Earth is launching a special fundraising drive for our non-profit, the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. We're raising funds to source, create, and showcase thousands of untold stories. Stories that spark real action in conservation and social impact. Join our live fireside chat to learn more and explore how you can become a founding donor.
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Most people that know me really well call me Max. I'm a mum. I have 2 boys. One is 16 years old and one is 14 years old. I'm a very, very proud mama of my 2 boys. I've just always been passionate about leopards. I'm passionate about their conservation. I'm just passionate about everything to do with leopards. I love them.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travel's newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
An African bird book, but I don't have it within my reach right now. But I will see if I can acquire it and see if it was indeed what you suggest. Oh wow, lovely. This is at Aldonio, and this bird I do know. This is an African harrier hawk, or used to be a gymnogene. Very, very easily identifiable bird. Can be a bit trickier if they're juveniles. But the thing I always see in this bird is it's actually a bit of a funny shape, in my opinion. If you look side on, it almost looks like it's got a small head and a slightly squashed, longer body. I don't know, have a look and see if you agree with me. Very wide, broad tail. Used to be called a gymnogene, now an African harrier hawk. Very brightly marked face. Sometimes you'll see that face is a more pinky colour. And these birds are known for digging stuff out of cavities. Baby birds particularly. They will dangle almost upside down sometimes on branches and have a good dig around in there. They'll get their feet in there and they'll hook out young babies from a nest. Let's have this bird's come down for a little drink. Okay, David UK and Richard B have both confirmed Von der Decken's hornbill. Thank you very much to both of you. I apologise for my lack of Kenyan bird knowledge. I will definitely try and get my ridiculously large sub-Saharan African bird book in my grasp for next time. But what is this bird doing down here? Because if he was going to have a drink, I would have thought it'd just come down, have a drink and leave, because we all know it's a little bit dodgy down at water's edges. Did you come for a drink? Or is he going to try and fish or something? I wouldn't have thought so, but as we all know, we are proved wrong on a very regular basis. Possibly looking for something to eat down here. Maybe turning over dung, seeing if there's anything good in the dung. Let's see if he uses those very dexterous feet. They've almost, it's not quite double jointed. It's actually a slight adaptation in their sort of feet to allow them to get their feet and legs into holes using that adaptation that they use for flipping over dung, seeing if they can. Let's see if that's what this bird is doing. Let's watch. Oh, or not. Okay, that's the end of that. But it didn't look to me like that bird was going for a drink. I would have thought it'd gone down and have a drink and left. So I think maybe this bird was hunting along the water line there, walking around on the ground. Oh, he's still back there. Excellent camera work. Quite a diverse diet, these birds. So they will eat birds' eggs, small mammals. Also been known to feed on carrion, fish, bats, frogs. And as we all know, the more varied a diet can be, the more successful that animal is likely to be. If you limit yourself to, oh, careful there, birdie. If they do limit, or animals with a limited diet can often struggle for resource availability. Beautiful yellow face. The females of this bird tend to be a little bit bigger, as is often the case. And birds of prey. Can be quite difficult to identify males from females, but I would often go on size. And these birds, apparently sometimes the females have slightly fewer or less black spots on the side of their wings there, but not always. This bird's in no hurry to leave. I'd be very interested to see if a partner or another bird joins. Oh, no, we've gone. I think that bird was possibly hunting, though, down by the water there. They have been known to sort of flip dung and look for any deliciousness that's been living underneath the dung. Martha, are the feathers of birds of prey less soft compared to other birds? Martha, let's cross over to Stony Point. I'm sure everyone is keen for some penguin kelp hyrax action. But in the meantime, Martha, are the feathers of birds of prey less soft compared to other birds? No, I don't think so. Their large birds of prey feathers will be bigger than smaller birds. But so bigger might make them disgruntled hyrax. So Martha, I'm going to say no. I know some birds of prey are bigger, but you also remember you get the little small falcons, But Martha, I'm going to say no, I don't think so. Smaller birds will have smaller feathers, possibly less solid. But as far as I'm aware, not necessarily harder than any other birds. Check this. Mildly disgruntled hyrax. This is definitely this guy's spot, though. I've seen him many times now.
Zitatamana wena, moya wa mina, ukomba wena, takuranza loko tamana wena.
It's been a great morning out and about and exploring.
Birds is amazing. It's very hard to explain what this feels like.
Hornbill in here, but I'm going to go to von der Decken's hornbills. And thank you, both of you that gave me that information, and I fully concur with this identification. There is a very similar looking Jackson's hornbill, slightly more red on the beak without that red blob. But yeah, I concur. Thank you very much for your help. I appreciate it. But I now have my giant bird book with me, while our little Dussie chills here in the shade. Beautiful sound of the sea. Check those little feet. It's very cool when we get an opportunity to have a look at the underneath of these animals' feet, because so often When we do get to view them, they're running and bouncing across those sharp, jaggedy rocks. And as a result of those feet, it does give them much better grip, more cushioning, making it less likely that they're going to slip and fall to their deaths off those jagged rocks. Oh, there's a little, is that a mountain wagtail in there? Oh, I didn't even see that penguin. Wow, that's amazing camouflage. I was looking at the potentially mountain wagtail. It was just underneath the penguin. This is a very chilled afternoon here at Stony Point. Much relaxation. It looks like a, if we could just go down a bit, was that little wagtail still there? I'm sure it was a little wagtail hopping around in those. I don't know. Down, right bottom. Is it a wagtail? There we go. He's in there somewhere. It's not a pied wagtail. I would say that's probably. Let me check my Southern African. Very industrious little bird. Okay. It would make sense. Cape wagtail, I couldn't quite see the markings on it there. Mountain wagtail. Slightly more black and white. And this Cape wagtail much more browny coloured, very busy, feeding through the rocks. And I'm sure there's lots of little goodies in amongst this seaweed as well for that little wagtail to feed on. African penguin, taking it easy, and I'm actually interested to see now. We were musing yesterday how strange I find it that there's penguins here off South Africa or Southern Africa, so my Southern African birds. There's 8 species of penguin that are found off of what is classified as Southern Africa. Oh, Mr. H, UAE 87, 27th of April, the penguin eggs will hatch. That's very specific. But if we want to run a book on it, I think that's a brilliant idea. Send us in your penguin egg hatch date guess. Mr. HUAE 87 has gone with a hard shout of the 27th of April, so send your dates of penguin egg hatching to wildearth.tv/questions, or you can scan the QR code. I'm going to write these down, so please do send them in. I'm going to make note of them and then I will send them back to MC so we can keep an eye on it. I'm sure other people on the show will be able to take your date nominations as well. So Mr. HUAE 87 says the 27th of April, but it's then it's going to get ambiguous because they might hatch on that date, but what if we don't know? Someone is going to have to constantly watch this nest to see if, but even if we got, I suppose the adults will have to move over a bit if those eggs are hatching. But what if they hatch and we don't see the baby? Are we going to know? That penguin looks like it's going to nod off there. Okay, so we have 8 species of penguin on my Southern African app. Let's see how many we have in the giant bird book. Oh, okay. Also 8. So, oh, that's a big yawn. So that's interesting. There are the same amount of penguin species found around southern African coastlines, not just south, but southern African coastlines is up through the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. So maybe it does indeed get not conducive to penguin conditions. This penguin is out. Mind you, beautiful lapping of the ocean is indeed very therapeutic. It's like he's almost going to topple over. Beautiful lapping of the sea. Mowiti, you're asking, can the African harrier hawk indeed bend its legs backwards and forwards? Pretty much. It's actually an adaptation, or it's got a specialization between the tibiotarsus and the tarsometatarsus, which is basically sort of ankly, wristy, whatever you want to call it on a bird, that it does allow for the bending of both ways, so it can almost rotate those feet inside a hole. It can like scoop, I'm actually doing it with my hand, sort of scoop around in nests to grab nestlings, eggs, anything else, or not just nests, but if there's a hole, it can scoop around. So yes, Mowiti, it can. Got a couple of cormorants here on the rocks. This is all very snoozy today. So we've definitely got a white-breasted cormorant there. can't really see the front of any of the others. That. See, actually looks quite relatively still today. Beautiful soft sounds of the ocean. Also busy with this maintenance, this feather maintenance that we were seeing from the ducks earlier on. It's fairly cool here as well today. Oh, I bet we see some heavy weather coming in here from time to time. Everyone's very busy with their feather maintenance. Alrighty, let's leave these African penguins doing some excellent work on their feathers. Oh, look at, wow, I've literally just seen that Dusty right in front of that penguin. I have just noticed that Dusty because it moved. Wow, that's shocking. Oh, this Dusty doesn't look very well. But right, let's head back over to Aldonio, and I have my big bird book here now. So I'm going to identify these birds from this 766-page book. Right, I'm going to have a guess at these. These look semi-weaver shaped. So I'm going to go, and they've gone. Have a look at these weavers. Let's see if I can find a Kenyan weaver. See how far off I am. Wow, there's about 70 different warblers in this book. Let's start. I think someone identified white-faced buffalo weavers or white-faced sparrow weavers a while ago here. You will probably hear me flicking through my book. That's okay. I think we don't use books often enough these days. We use an app or something. Yeah, I could be completely wrong. Maybe they weren't weavers. At guiding school, we were always taught to look at a general sort of overview body shape of the bird and try and work out what it might be. Sort of. Okay, maybe it wasn't a weaver. Okay, no, I give up. This is the 766-page book. We could be here quite a long time. David UK or Richard B, or anyone else for that matter, please advise. Which Kenyan birds did we just see on the ground? Maybe they were sparrow weavers? Wow, there's something called a sprosser. Sprosser. I've never heard of a sprosser in my life. Sparrow weaver. What? Not that. I know that. I know that. I feel like they're going to be a white-faced something. 658. 658. Let's go across to Tembe. Let's have a look and see if we've got some elephants across there while I try and work out what that bird was. Ah, okay. Maybe it was one of those. White-headed buffalo weaver. I think someone did mention those a while ago. That looks like it could have been close-ish. And our elephants all in their individual mud wallows. This makes me happy. I noticed this for the first time yesterday. Own little puddles. So there's no argument, which I think is absolutely brilliant.
Full name is Maxine Gaines. Best part of the job, gosh, I just love everything about guiding. I love being able to observe animal behavior and animals behaving naturally. So for me, that's by far the best part of the job. And so what we do here at Wild Earth is develop those connections with the people that are viewing and maybe just light a little spark that says, you know what, I want to be involved in protecting this ecosystem.
We are thrilled to announce our new exclusive feature for YouTube members and explorers. Join us live every Tuesday for our sunrise and sunset safaris. Experience Tawny Tuesday like never before with up-close encounters and breathtaking moments. Don't miss out. Become a YouTube member or explorer today and immerse yourself in the heart of the bush. See you Tuesday.
Okay, and these two at the back are almost back end to back end. What a life, hey? I don't think I would be displeased if I came back as one of these guys. And look how dexterous that elephant is. Like, kicks a bit of mud onto his trunk. He does it again. Front foot, pops a little bit of mud on and then launches it over his back. Getting excellent coverage there. Is your buddy a little bit too close, or are you just going to use him as a rubbing post? Just using him as a rubbing post. I do wonder how long it's going to be before these little muddy puddles dry up. I wonder if, I've never seen an elephant do it, but I wonder if they wouldn't maybe come and put more water on them. They're perfectly capable of carrying litres of water in their trunk there. I wonder if they would, if these little pans dry up, and these will be some of the first pans to dry up, these little puddles. How does he want to try his friend's puddle now? Whether or not they would bring water from the dam, 10, 15 metres, whatever it is, in order to keep these puddles functional. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to wait and see. It's not impossible. But see, this is a really nice angle here. See how much smaller this elephant closest to us is now. Much, much smaller than this guy at the back. It does. It looks like they've rotated a little bit, and maybe this mud has different qualities, like we were saying earlier. Maybe there's different qualities in the soil, different minerals in the soil. They have different antibacterial or anti-something properties in each of those little puddles. Who knows? Or maybe it's just fun to try different puddles. Deb Davis, thank you very much for asking. Which animals, creatures, do I most enjoy studying and observing? Oh, good question, Deb Davis. It depends. I really enjoy observing baboons because I feel like I can relate to them. They're always active, they're always doing something, they're often interacting with one another, and if they're not interacting with one another, they're self-grooming or self-soothing or something. They're always doing something. I enjoy that. It's very difficult to interpret or understand or get any handle whatsoever on an animal that's not moving at all. So I really enjoy watching baboons based on that, because I feel like I can relate, and as I feel many people can. And while I can appreciate what these elephants are doing here. Have I ever splashed around in a grubby muddy puddle? Or have I? Probably not for the same reasons as this elephant would. But so based on that, Deb, in a bush environment, I really enjoy watching baboons. Probably baboons, vervet monkeys, probably baboons more. I'm not sure why. I can't explain why. But other than that, I love watching dogs, domestic dogs, because I feel like I've got a fairly good understanding of their body language. I've studied it hard, I've practiced it hard, I've researched it hard. And I think any area that you feel more competent in, you enjoy more. I remember, although today's demonstration would probably beg to differ, because I don't know Kenya, but the more, only the last 4 or 5 years, I'm a bit rusty at the moment. 5 or 6 years, I've got more into birding, and I enjoy it more. But sort of 8, 9 years ago, I didn't particularly enjoy birding because I knew the big pretty ones, but I wasn't great with calls. And then I studied very intentionally to finish a birding specialist qualification, and I just, no pun intended, parrot fashioned bird calls and slide and sound tests, and I did it again and again, and then I got more competent, and then I practiced and I practiced, and then I got better. And because I got better, I used to enjoy birding more, because if you just look at something and don't know what it is, it can be, well, don't know what it is. But now, I can have a guess at what I think it might be, and then you have to check defining features. So that was a really long-winded way of answering Deb, as is my style. So bush-based, I love watching baboons, and in general, actual studying, I would say domestic dogs. Lots of similarities between wild dogs or other canids in the bush, but also lots of differences. Domestic dogs are not wolves; they are not wild. They have very different sets of behaviours. They've got adaptations to their digestive systems, various things that has changed over the years. So there are similarities, but there's also lots of differences in wild canids and our modern day domestic dog. This big one just did it again. He's like kicking some mud onto his trunk, and then like it's a kick and a flick. I would love to know what these animals are thinking. We never will. I don't think. Well, I don't know. Maybe modern technology. As I always say, we can interpret body language, and we can guess, and we can discuss things we've seen before. But will we ever know? I don't know. It looks like they've had, I think, it's going down on his knees. Oh, he's just going to sit in it. All this messing about with, that is so cool. It's messing about with chunks. I'm just going to lay down and roll around in it. You don't see this often with elephants, with proper grown-up elephants. I mean, he's not huge, but he's definitely no baby anymore. And interesting as well, see how he's chosen to lay on that slight upslope. Whether or not that's intentional, I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me. Not particularly elegant. but I got the job done. To anyone that asks if elephants lay down, there was your answer. Dog main lover, is there any animal that I really dislike in the bush and rather never see them? That's a brilliant question. Ooh. Not really. No, wait. I know what it is. It's a solifuge. I don't want to see solifuges. Or red Romans, or sun spiders, or whatever you want to call them. No, I never, if I never see another solifuge, as long as I live, then I will not be fazed. I don't like them. They make me squeal. They are creepy and they run really fast. I would never hurt one. But dark main lover, if I never see another solifuge, I'll be absolutely fine with that. Anyone that doesn't know what a solifuge is, it's solifuge. No, solifugae. If you Google solifuge, fugae, or sun spider, or red Roman, I just did it. No, I'm fine. Oh my goodness, that was massive. Oh my goodness. No, I'm fine. Dark main lover, if I never see another solifuge, I'm fine with that. Everything else is very welcome. Oh, there was one picture there that it was someone had one in their hand, and it was like this, the size of their hand. No. Dark main lover, Google solifuges or red Romans, and please send through how you feel about them. I would love to get your opinion and whether or not you share my sentiments. Anyone else? Please have a little look-see at solifuges or sun spiders, and send your comments on your thoughts about them to wildearth.tv/questions or scan the QR code. If there is anyone out there that says, that's amazing, Kelly, you're a terrible human, then I will happily take your thoughts on board.
For years, we've shared virtual wildlife. Now, let's experience it for real. I'm Lauren Arthur, and I'd love to show you my amazing home here in the Greater Kruger of South Africa. This 5-night journey is an exclusive connection to my piece of untamed Africa. I live here in these gorgeous landscapes surrounded by epic wildlife. The wild is calling, so come and join me.
Become a Wild Earth YouTube member today and unlock extras and bonuses, like ad-free streams so you can stay immersed in your safari without any interruption. Have your burning questions answered first by me or other expert naturalists. Join now to avoid missing out on these amazing benefits. Help us connect people to nature.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
bush. I'm very aware, and to be fair, I normally am in the low fell, which does help. So these storks, as with many birds we've spoken about already today, can be quite difficult to differentiate male from female. Mostly insect feeders, but they'll sometimes feed on other water inhabitants, so frogs or mollusks, maybe a fish here and there. But there's been lots of birds today doing maintenance on their feathers. And you can actually see in this picture, just about, there's a little bit of a sheen on this stork's feathers, almost an iridescence. And lots of these birds, when we look closely at them, I know hardy-duck ibis, the one that we often moan about because they're noisy, but if you look at their feathers, they've got these beautiful iridescent wing panels on them. Wing panels of sort of greens, and they're sort of almost shimmer in the sunlight, but we're so busy paying attention to them being noisy, we sometimes miss that shimmer. Look at this big old boy resting his trunk on his tusk there. Karen, I don't like to see solifuge spiders. I don't know if you mean solifuges or spiders, or just solifuges, which are classified as a kind of almost not quite type spider. They are in the arachnid family, but they're not a spider. But either way, fully support you on the solifuges, Karen. And May Heyman, what animal have I not seen yet and would like to see? Oh, there's so many, May. So many. I'm going to assume you want me to stay in Africa, because otherwise just the list is completely endless. Shall I stay in South Africa or Southern Africa? I think let's stay in Africa. I would really like to see a bongo. That would be cool, but they frequent tricky places, shall we say. But South Africa, that could be possible in my area of operation. Striped polecat. I've never seen a striped polecat, which technically could be possible right outside my window right now. But they're incredibly unusual to see. I did see someone somewhere. I think I saw someone rescued one from a house or something. So May, I'm going to go striped polecat. I have never seen a striped polecat. Because if we start moving outside of South Africa, then my list is pretty much endless. I would love to see one of those giant anteaters found in Brazil. I've been rolling around the idea of a Brazil trip recently, but possibly cost prohibitive. Anyone who's listening from Brazil, I would love to think that someone is listening from Brazil. Have you seen a giant anteater? I think if someone said, if you could pick any animal you could see anywhere in the world right now, I think I'll probably go giant anteater, because they're massive. I've never seen a moose in the wild. Have I ever seen a moose in captivity? I don't think I've ever seen a moose in captivity either. I'll give you three, May. Striped polecat, giant anteater, and a moose. I'm going to have to do some travelling, but that's all right. They would be my three top choices. Look at this boy resting his chunk on his tusks there. They get heavy. This is a big old chunk of muscle here. Full of muscles, super heavy, these trunks. And I think he's just having a little chill there, just resting his trunk, taking the weight off. And see how they're constantly fanning those ears. So anyone who thinks, I'm sure anyone that watches this has been beautifully educated now, but the elephant's flapping his ears, he's going to be angry. Those elephants were the least angry elephants I've ever seen. And they are just almost an instinctive reaction. A gentle fanning of ears just to keep them cool. I personally don't think they sort of go and in and out and in and out and in and out. I think it's almost a reflex reaction that they just keep those ears fanning. I think if they were under some stress, if they were under some pressure, I think it would be more of a ears out type conscious movement. But to me, this looks like almost a reflex of just fanning them in the breeze there. This big elephant on the right, I see his tusks. One does look longer, less damaged than the other. So the one on our right, so his left, does look like there's a bit of damage at the tip there. It could be that these tusks were symmetrical, but maybe he favours that left, our right tusk a bit more. Maybe he's done a little bit of damage using it to dig roots or lift things or move things. Elephants will often have a preferred tusk to use. The same as we would, I'd say elephants are probably closer to an ambidextrous human who's able to use both. It would be slightly foolish of nature if they were only physically able to use one side well and functionally. So while they can use both, they'll often Apologies about that, everyone. I have no idea what happened there. I do apologise. This is African Wi-Fi. But on the plus side, in the meantime, we have a beautiful little group of Inyala with an Egyptian goose friend, by the looks of it. This camera is actually stunning. Beautiful chestnut colours in these Inyala and very clear and black stripes. Check those black stripes down their back. I've never noticed that before. I suppose I'm a bit higher than I usually am when I look at Inyalas. Normally I'm sort of side on, but much more elevated here. So back here at the beautiful Tembe Elephant Park with a little family.
We have just had our efforts paid off.
Become a Wild Earth YouTube member and unlock exclusive bonuses and benefits. Enjoy uninterrupted, ad-free streams so you can stay immersed in nature. Have your burning questions answered first by me or other expert naturalists. Enjoy exclusive access to special broadcasts and videos, and help us to connect people to nature.
Haina nchumo, haina maka. Emavo kwenye ya mbilu, haina maka. Lifasila mina ritapela, zatsemba, utatsamana mina.
Join the Wild Earth Explorers program and connect with a community passionate about wildlife. Support our mission to share authentic wildlife experiences with the world. Your monthly contribution helps provide schools and children access to kids' safaris, fostering a love for nature in the next generation. Embrace the wonders of the bush and make a difference today. Wild Earth, connecting with nature.
Apologies, everyone. I seem to be having some fairly serious issues with my Wi-Fi connection. Maybe it's that time of day, but I apologise. But it has been fabulous spending some time with everyone here this afternoon. I hope to stay for the next 2 minutes, but if I don't, I will talk to you soon. Thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon. It's hugely appreciated. And thank you for sending in your fabulous questions and comments. We hope you can join us again tomorrow. In the meantime, continue watching these fabulous cameras jot down any notes. Everyone get thinking around when you think our penguin eggs will indeed hatch. And you'll have to let us know. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Mondays or your Monday evenings or your Tuesday mornings or whatever it is, wherever you are. And I've really enjoyed everyone's participation in this afternoon's show. Thank you so much for joining in. And I will see you all again soon. Stay safe out there and keep enjoying these wonderful streams from these fabulous cameras.